ever since the release of the Jurassic Park movie, people have feared what might become of meddling with de-extinction. It's been a taboo science. Many have deemed it better to be left alone than risk a genetic apocalypse. And with the rise of social media, there comes a lot of misinformation about many topics. One that is publicly harmful is concerning scientific advancements. Social media would have you believe that meteors are going to crash into our cities, and that scientists have created teleportation, that we've found ways to solidify light from sources like Hindustan times, that we've cured cancer with microplastics, which are exaggerated claims, and most recently that scientists have brought back an extinct animal from beyond the grave. All of this misinformation is collected online and spread around like wildfire, creating an epidemic of false scientific claims and harmful perspectives. On April 7th, 2025, Colossal Labs in Biosciences made the bold claim that they had revived the formerly extinct direwolf. With the initial information provided sparking doubt and suspicion, Colossal found it necessary to release all the information regarding their project, including the not-so-scientific opinion that the produced specimens were true direwolves. In the newly released information, we discovered that these wolves were, in fact, originally gray wolves, whose genes had been modified similarly to previous experiments with mammoth DNA in lab mice, an experiment also conveniently performed by Colossal. Although gray wolves are closely related to direwolves, that does not make them direwolves. But what makes a direwolf different from a gray wolf? Let's start with the obvious. Direwolves are larger in size, their bite force is more powerful, and their fur is ghost white. Not only this, but a scholarly article from Larissa DeSantis proves signs of direwolves exhibiting habits of hunting larger prey and consuming larger amounts of bone in their diet. National Geographic's article on the topic depicts direwolves as descendants of ancient jackals and notes that Colossal has contradicted itself in its own statements when compared to the research they published prior to hastily releasing the direwolf revival news. Contrary to popular belief, the scientific community's reception to this new creature has been anything but warm. The rushed effort that went into reproducing the ancient species has raised many questions about the ethicality of extinct species returning to the living, as well as a refusal to recognize Colossal's efforts as conservation, with scientists noting that bringing back extinct species could very well irreparably harm modern ecosystems. Additionally, the implications of a pack animal not learning its ways from its own may have serious effects on its survivability in the wild, as it would not be equipped with the necessary survival skills, effectively rendering the imitated animal no more than a viable zoo pet. Craig Klugman, a bioethicist and professor of health sciences at DePaul University, has been quoted in a Chicago Tribune article stating, "What they did was genetically tweak a gray wolf, so you have a wolf that has some characteristics of a dire wolf." So, although it is a hot topic of scientific advancement at the moment, it is important to remember not to trust everything you see on the internet. Colossal's goal is to strategically mislead the public into believing they have accomplished something they have not by using skewed data and exaggerated statements to garner attention, an all too common modern trend of misinformation in the online world. Their vague and misleading verbiage has led to widespread fear and panic about potentially harnessing these scientific advancements for evil, but it has also opened the gateway for false hopes, such as the revival of the dodo bird and the beloved woolly mammoth. In the future, as technology evolves and more scientific advancements are made, it is quite possible that this epidemic of exaggerated news and false claims will spread farther than it has already. It could become the scary truth that no source of news is reputable enough to trust, especially if Time magazine can be paid off to post misleading articles about direwolves being revived. It will become increasingly important to work together to cultivate a safe environment for reputable news and research to be shared with the purpose of informing education and innovation rather than generating money. One way to do that would be to implement a tier system of reputability between news organizations, based on a neutral third-party fact-checking system, with those higher tiers receiving more federal funding, advertising opportunities, and airtime. This will incentivize news neutrality, ethical journalism, and the use of more accurate information, while simultaneously punishing non-reputable sources who would look to exploit public panic and misunderstanding for money and viewership.